I remember just crying my eyes out every night and being like, I am responsible for this dog. I don't know what to do. I can't sleep. He's not getting the nutrition that he needs. I want to come on here and do a video series. So this is going to be the first one in the series on dog digestion, because it's something that I know we personally struggled with a lot with our Bernese specifically. And then I hear from a lot of people just, being in the dog community and on dog forums and things like digestion and specifically chronic diarrhea tends to be pretty prevalent in the Bernese breed. And so I want to show you, I keep a folder for every dog that we have. And so this one was our very first Bernese. So this, just shows his parentage, his date of birth. In the folder, I keep everything from medical records to training certificates to rabies tags, everything, just everything. Every dog has a folder because I'm type A anal like that. And this was Odin. So this was Odin's folder. And unfortunately, we lost him on June 19th, 2021. But the reason I'm sharing this is because from the time we brought him home, which I have the actual contract from the breeder in here, and it's dated January 13th, 2014. From the day we brought him home, he had chronic diarrhea. And I'm talking like diarrhea every single day for the first 5 months that we owned him. And that is not an exaggeration. Unless he was on antibiotics from the vet, he had diarrhea. And I mean, we would be up every hour on the hour at night. It was worse than, I don't have children. My dogs are my children, but I can imagine it was either similar to or even worse than having a newborn, because it was literally every hour that we would get up and have to take him out. And it was just liquid, absolute liquid. Now, the funny thing is, like, he never acted sick. So he never lost an appetite. He never acted like, he was in pain or that his belly hurt or anything like that. And he would eat literally anything. This dog would eat anything. But obviously, every day we'd come home, have to clean his crate out, have to replace the towels or replace the bedding or, rely on friends and family to come help us to let him out because we both worked full time during the day. And it was just a nightmare. And I was like, this has gotta stop. We tried. And again, I have the receipts. So they're dated in here. I'm looking at them. We would have him at the vet literally every week. Sometimes multiple times a week. We went to the VSEC, which is the Veterinary Specialty and Emergency Center. We live in Pennsylvania, so there's the closest one to us was in Philadelphia. We took him down there for blood work, abdominal ultrasounds, CTCs. Everything came back normal. No allergies, no issues. We even took out this was at the time when my husband and I just had a hourly job. My husband had just gotten his quote unquote career job. And so I even have the receipt in here from my care credit card that I took out because I couldn't afford to continue to take this dog to all these specialists. And yet there was nothing that was helping. And so I was like, I remember just crying my eyes out every night and being like, I am responsible for this dog. I don't know what to do. I can't sleep. He's not getting the nutrition that he needs. And we went to so many different vets and they all did the same thing. They would all do blood work. They would all put him on pro or prebiotics. They would all put him on antibiotics. And then they would all, deworm him. And when you deworm a dog, right, it really adjusts or messes with the gut bacteria. At one point, they would test him after another round of deworming. And they found that he literally had no more gut bacteria, like none. And so obviously that was even worse because you do want your, obviously we have to have some gut bacteria. That's what helps with us digesting food and making sure that everything is working the way that it should. And so we had dewormed him so much that he literally had nothing left. And so I kept telling the vets, like, this is not the issue. This is not the problem. He does not have worms. We would do stool samples and we were taking him to a dog trainer at the time. He was in puppy kindergarten. We do that with all our dogs for socialization purposes and just basic manners. And so we were at our wits' end. We really were. I mean, I could go through all the receipts, but I haven't ever added it up because I just genuinely don't want to know how much money we spent trying to figure this out. And so we went to one of the training sessions that one evening, and the dog trainer said to us, "Have you ever tried raw food?" And I thought, oh, no, like, that can't possibly be good for your dog. And she said, "Well, honestly, what do you have to lose at this point?" And I thought, you know what? Uh, that's a great question. I have no idea other than more sleep. Nothing pretty much at this point. So we decided to give it a try, and she gave us the website of, where she got her raw food from. She fed her dogs all raw food. And then she also recommended a book by Dr. Ian Billinghurst, and it was called Give Your Dog a Bone. Again, I had dogs growing up. We just fed kibble and milk bones and the whole, just whatever, we thought we were doing well by the dog. We thought we were giving them proper nutrition according to everything that you're taught. And so I read this book and it completely blew my mind. I was like, this makes total sense. He was saying, in essence, that dogs obviously evolved from wolves. And so what was a wolf's diet? It was mostly meat and mostly raw bones. And then, they would forage for fruits and vegetables, whatever was available. And dogs are traditionally carnivores, but can also be omnivores, which means they can eat, meat and fruits and veggies. So anyway, though, it just went through this whole thought process for me of like, wow, yeah, I mean, wolves have survived for how many thousands of years, and yet my dog is sick. Nothing I've tried has worked in terms of conventional medicine, treatments. Everything comes back normal as far as testing. So long story short, we went and we bought some raw food, and it's from a local butcher who's from Norway, and they feed and produce raw food. I'm not even joking with you. Within 24 hours of swapping out his diet, and we did it cold turkey, which they'll all tell you not to do. We took away the kibble, the wet dog food, canned food, took it away, switched him 100% raw. I am not even joking when I tell you that within that 24-hour period, for the very first time in those 5 months that I had this puppy, he had solid stool, solid poops. I just broke down crying. And I remember my husband being like, this is insane. This can't have possibly worked that well. Like, it's got to be a fluke. It's got to be, we're just waiting for the other shoe to drop. I said, yeah, I mean, I get it. I think you're right. I think this is a fluke. And then it just kept going. Like, he just kept having solid poops. And so from that day on, I just was totally converted and have never looked back. I want to share this with you because conventional medical veterinary medicine will tell you, I mean, my vets hate that I feed raw food, hate it. And that's okay. Like, I just say, I just nod and smile and say, yep, they're doing fine, doing great. This is what they eat. No, I do not want your prescription diet. No, I do not want your limited ingredient kibble diet. Go on my merry way. But I want to just share this story because, sometimes what you don't think is even a possibility ends up being the thing that makes all the difference in your dog's life. Even though he still got cancer and that's what killed him, and that's still a huge, huge issue with the Bernese breed in terms of what ultimately kills them. He never had digestion issues after that. He ate raw his entire life, never had any digestion issues. Coat was always great. Teeth, we've never cleaned our dog's teeth professionally, from a vet. The raw bones take care of all the plaque and everything. And people would comment all the time, like, oh my gosh, how are his teeth so white? Because he was getting older for a Bernese. And I would always say, oh, it's the raw bones. So I just share this story that if you are struggling and you are just relying on traditional veterinary medicine. And look, I am not a vet, so anything I say on this channel, put that disclaimer in front of. Obviously, if you're having issues or your animal is, very, very sick, or you just suspect something is wrong, please take them to the vet. I'm just sharing my personal experience and what has worked for me for the last decade with my own personal dogs. I just share this because I think sometimes we get so wrapped up in what has been programmed into our brains for our entire lives, like dogs eat kibble and dogs shouldn't have raw meat or raw bones, or but yeah, reading that book, and I'll put a link to it in the description. You can get it on Amazon, so it's an Amazon affiliate link. So if you do click it, it won't change the price for you at all. I will get a tiny little kickback from Amazon as an affiliate, but I'll put a link down below for it if you're interested. But it absolutely blew my mind. Everything in there that we then changed in our dog's diet worked. And so I just want to encourage you to not be afraid to go against the grain and go against traditional medical or veterinary wisdom. If it's something that, you have tried everything and you just feel in your heart of hearts that, you're just missing something for your dog and you want to do best by them and you want to try everything to give them the longest, healthiest life possible, just try it. Like, that's all I'm saying. Just try it. You don't really have anything I didn't have anything to lose other than more sleep and even more of my sanity, which, let's be honest, is not I'm missing a lot of it as it is anyway. So I just share this story in hopes that maybe if you're like me, who was curled up in a corner crying, so sleep deprived, at my wit's end, completely financially tapped, thinking that this dog is going to die because I can't get them to digest anything, and just feeling like the worst possible pet parent in the world, try the raw diet, try going against traditional, veterinary medicine, and just see what happens. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But again, I didn't have anything left to lose except more sleep and my sanity, more laundry cycles in my future. So I just tried it and it worked, and I've never looked back. And I hope that gives you the encouragement you need to do the same, and it might just work out. So I'm going to be doing more videos on my journey with raw feeding and how it's been life-changing for our dogs. But I wanted to start out with this story because I wanted you to have the background information for where these videos are coming from. So I hope that helps. I hope that your dogs are happy and healthy and that you just enjoy them, because they really are the absolute best. So I will see you in the next video. And don't forget, berners are best.